All right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Speak On It, Wednesday edition. So for the Wednesday, y'all know what it is. Your guest with us, just talking about what he's doing in the community, some projects he got going on. So, but before we go and jump into it, make sure that y'all tell a friend that we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and like our channel and follow us on Facebook. But we're gonna jump right into it. Jeff, you want to introduce yourself? I know, listen, if y'all know the face, he's been on the show before, talking about what he was doing. But for those who don't know, I'm going to let him introduce himself, just to tell us a little bit about who he is.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jeff Benson, a native of Seaford, Delaware, and current candidate for Seaford City Council. I'm excited to be on the show tonight and be able to discuss our initiatives that we have working and what we plan to do once we're elected come this Saturday.
Absolutely, man. Get out there. Make sure y'all get out there and vote on Saturday. If you're a Seaford resident, get out and vote. So, Jeff, I'm gonna get right into it, bro. I'm gonna get right into it. You had a post or whatever, and it seems like people were, vandalizing or destroying, your signs that you had put around town or whatever, man. So, let me just ask the question. First of all, what was your initial reaction to it? And then secondly, what did you learn from it?
My first initial reaction. So this is the thing, Viv. So, riding through the city, I had my signs out probably 3 weeks prior to any other candidate. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, in the midst of that, great feedback. My picture is on there. Strategically, I wanted people to know who I was. I didn't want them to second guess. Yes, that's him. And so my first initial issue that I had with my signs, because I was just telling Dom earlier how, your mind doesn't rest during the campaign process. The work is nothing for me. It's everything leading up to it, right? And so every day, literally, I'm riding around the city to look at my signs, make sure everything's right, their position right. If the wind, does some things funky to them, I straighten them up every single day. I got over 75 signs out. We're a small town, so, that may seem minuscule to a lot of people, but I'm telling you, you ride it every day. You're going to be like, yo, my wife, she'd be like, what you doing, riding, checking signs? Absolutely. So for the first couple of weeks, everything's copacetic, no issues. My first encounter with my signs being vandalized it was a Sunday afternoon. We're riding around. My wife, she didn't know where I placed them all, so I took her to every spot that I placed, right? So she could see. So in her passing, she, identified different things or whatever. And so we went and we saw every single one. And actually, we put out 2 additional signs because some areas that I saw that I needed to have strategically. I come home, take like a 2-hour nap, right? I go back out to go visit a friend. Right down the road, not even 30 seconds from my house where we stay, somebody literally drove over my sign. That means they had to leave the road and drive over to my sign, right? Now, Biv, I live by Central. So they literally rode over the sign. They crossed over to ride over the sign. Wow. And so that's the first initial one that I see.
On the Lord's Day of all days, though.
And I'm like, yo, you just did this because I just told you I just came home not only 2 hours ago. So this just happened. So, I'm upset, But my initial thing was, all right, just sit it back up, right? Just sit it back up. But it messed my whole night up. Really, it did. In fact, let me think. It wasn't Super Bowl night. No, but it was something going on because I was going over to Lamar's house. So I was meeting with him about something, but it just threw my whole night off, right? So from there, I go right down the road. I have a sign right in front of the Seaford Library. That one's pulled up and it's ripped. So I'm like, they're deliberately doing this. And so I'm so heated. I'm like, I don't have the brain capacity because I needed to go to him to meet with him to ride around to see what's on. So I ended up replacing that one or whatever. And I tell him about it. And then I sit back and I say, you know what? I just missed an opportunity because I should have took a picture and went live with it. And so in the midst of that, that was the first encounter. And this was like the beginning of March. And so from now on, I didn't have any other issues and I'm riding around. Now, the day that you saw me post, I was really, really heated. Now, we just did a great community thing. We went and celebrated the teachers, gave out pizzas, and, it was just a beautiful day. So I didn't want to post that in the midst of, that's a downer.
Absolutely.
We don't hide, you know what I mean? But this is no lie. I told you, I drive every day. The night before, my signs are up in these particular locations. I go out as I'm delivering pizzas. I see one of my signs down, right? So I'm like, well, first off, I didn't see it. So I'm thinking somebody pulled it up. I drive back around, I see it. It's clipped from the bottom. So like somebody took wire cutters or something and cut it. Right down the road, another sign, the same thing. So once again, you know what I mean? I'm here, but I got to deliver these pizzas. So I'm trying to stay on a upbeat motion. I have a sign by Walmart. I had an appointment in Georgetown. That sign is clipped. I saw that one. And so initially I was going to pick it up and go replace it. On my way back, that's when I remembered go live, because this is no coincidence. This is 3 signs that were up the night before and now they're clipped. And so that's the reason why I went live. I'm sorry I had it drawn out, but I just want to give you some context.
No, you're good.
Excuse me, of what was taking place. And it was frustrating because it's like, yo, I'm not blaming any other candidates of doing that, because I want somebody to do that to me, because I don't know who did it. But somebody did it. You know what I mean? Somebody was doing it. So that's the reason why I asked, I put the call out for people to let me know if you see somebody doing something, and for whoever was doing it to stop.
I'm with you, bro. I mean, that's just sad to say, but that's almost politics at this point.
Yeah.
And it's just something that you just gotta roll with it. But like I said, what did you learn from it? What did you learn from it? What was your greatest takeaway from it?
My greatest takeaway was, yo, you're not the only person this happens to. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why I didn't say anything in the first place, right? But I think something needed to be addressed, because you're not going to continue to try to intimidate me or bully me or whatever the tactic was intended to do. So the greatest takeaway was, look, man, I don't even want to make it a race thing. I just say, people were intimidated by our campaign because we're putting in work. That's period. You know what I mean? How I feel is we've outworked every candidate in the race. We've done as much as we could possibly. We've outspent every candidate in the race. Guys been good to us, where individuals have donated to our campaign, not just locally. I got a big Facebook following. I got people from Facebook that donate to the campaign. They say, hey, we can't vote for you. We don't even know, where you live at, but we do support you, and we can recognize that you're a good person. And I think that you will be the change that your area needs. So we're grateful for that.
All right. So why have you chose to enter into public office?
So, people don't consider school board public office, but you got to run for school board, right? And the blessing with school board for me, which makes it also not a curse, but a challenge with the municipal race, is for the 2 terms that I've been elected, I haven't ran a race. You know what I mean? I ran unopposed. Now, my very first time running for school board, I lost to Miss Rebecca Adams by a slim margin, and then I went on to serve with her. You know what I mean? But I didn't really know what I was doing, so I matured. So that was 2013 and 2015. I ran again, and I ran unopposed, no challenger. Right? Last year, I was up for re-election. And I had already made a decision that I was going to run for Seaford City Council. So we moved into the city, from the country. So that was already planned out. And my idea was, we definitely want a re-election for school board, because I have some work that I felt that was undone. But shall something happen, then, we already have the plan for what's next. Well, I ran unopposed. So it's 2 things. One, people felt that I was a strong enough candidate not to run against, and I was doing a good job. Or 2, there was an interest, which is not good, in my opinion, for a town, because you should want options for individuals that serve in your area, right? But I do appreciate it if it's the latter, individuals having a vote of confidence that, hey, he's doing a good job and he should stay in that post. So to get to your question, I apologize. So for me, I've been doing a lot of the work that my initiatives are. My three initiatives are broadband, which is high speed, affordable internet, affordable housing, and economic development. So, I work throughout the state. I work, in different coalitions and different things to provide those exact things to our area currently. And so the broadband, I can't say I've been working on that because we got exposed with COVID how bad our high speed internet service was. So that kind of crept in. But as far as affordable housing, education, and economic development, I do that I can't say daily, but on a weekly or a monthly basis. You know what I mean? So what I needed was, you can call it ego or whatever the case may be. But if I'm calling a corporation to get information on behalf of myself to talk to a CEO, because I always want to deal with decision makers, I think I've earned the right to do that. And that's why I say that's where ego may possibly come in. It sounds different when it says Jeff Benson from Seaford, Delaware is calling, as opposed to Councilman Jeffrey Benson from Seaford, Delaware is calling. You know what I mean? If I don't have that relationship, chances are they're probably going to take my call with Councilman Benson, right? For individuals that I have a relationship with, that's second nature. But for when I'm trying to prospect and say, hey, we got an area here. Like, for example, I was on, a call with Preston Shell with Shell Brothers today, right? And so he doesn't know me personally, but I got through to him through his wife, because we did something together in the community. And she was like, you really need to talk to him. And it goes back to the affordable housing piece. You know what I mean? They're building $1 million homes on the Eastern Sussex side. I'm thinking, hey, let's do something here on the Western Sussex side with the whole Shell Brother experience, but for what's affordable for our area. So that's the reason for me wanting to run for Seaford City Council. And, this is our area. We grew up here, man. I love this area. This is just something that, I need to make sure that we make happen. And, it's one thing, I like to straddle the fence. I like to be in the community, and I like to be on the policy side. Certain things you can get done quicker in the community than you can on policy. But then you need somebody on the policy side when things get a little, there's some red tape to help push the agenda. And if the people that sit on council don't have the ideas that I have, then why not me be the person that can do both? Talk to the community, see what it is that's needed, and then also utilize that platform and my authority to push those things forward.
Now, I'm not sure. How long is your term? If you were to be elected to city council, how long is your term?
3 years.
3 years. Okay. So in those 3 years, what is the one thing that you want to see happen if you were to only serve that one term?
So I told you economic development is one of the big factors, right? And we needed economic development in order for the other services to be, to wrap around, such as affordable housing. Because without any economics, you ain't gonna bring affordable housing because people can't afford it anyway, right? So we got a jolt in our system, in our ecosystem with Amazon coming, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I had no idea that they were coming. And in my opinion, it even worked out even better for my campaign, because now I can dive in, because what's going to happen is, what you're going to see, they're bringing X amount of jobs here. Say it's 1,000 to 2,000 jobs in the area, right? I'm not happy. It's $15 an hour. In my opinion, it's still not a living wage, but it's more than what we got now. It's more than $10 an hour, right? So I'll take it. But also, we can utilize that big box brand to attract other businesses to the area. So because Amazon's here, it's almost like a Walmart, right? And this is on a smaller scale, obviously. So when you see a Walmart comes up, usually there's a Dollar Tree, there's a Cato, there's Advanced
The Sally's.
yeah, you see what I'm saying? So those particular businesses kind of follow that, right? So utilizing that same business model, Amazon is probably, in my opinion, is going to create some type of ecosystem for us where we can get on the phone and prospect other companies that come here. Now, strategically, outside of the industrial type businesses, what I would like to see us do is tap into some of the IT jobs. COVID has put a damper on some things, but it also has afforded us an opportunity, meaning a lot of individuals are working from home. So if you take Code Differently, Zip Code Delaware, and it's like 3 other IT type training institutions, right? And they're from 14 to maybe even 20 weeks of training. Individuals that graduate from there, they can get a job with JP Morgan making $75,000. So if we can have individuals that live here where they ain't got to travel, say up to Newcastle, which is 2 hours away from us every day, and maybe it's once a day, I think that's a great thing because now we have those type of funds that's directly impacting us here locally. And it allows individuals to be able to afford a nice size home because right now you got a price point of 170 to 220, which is a demand, right? But there's no inventory. And whatever inventory is available is old. And it means you're gonna have to sink money back in to it to bring it up to par or whatever it is that you want. And so that's the issue that we're facing. You have places like InCall, places like First Aid Community Action, places like Meridian Bank, where they say, hey, we actually have individuals that's pre-qualified. We just don't have the inventory to put them into. So that's what I'm excited about with the Amazon coming. And so strategically, what I feel will be a win is if I can get a shell, or even if it's not a shell, I can get a contractor to come in to wrap around and be able to provide those affordable housings with them. And I'm going to be talking to everybody, trust me. So between now and those 3 years, that will probably be the major win since we already have Amazon pouring into the ecosystem. And so what I'll do is I'll, kind of piggyback on what they're doing and be talking to other businesses that are abroad and try to bring them to the area and say, hey, look what we got. Because that's exactly what happened with Middletown when Middletown was pretty much a big field. Amazon came and now they're a thriving, city.
Absolutely. Say you lose. What's your next move?
Well, I'll still be on a school board and the work don't stop, right? So what you see with some candidates when, they run, they lose, you don't see them no more, right? So it was all a facade. Well, it ain't a facade for me. One, I was doing the work prior to announcing, my candidacy, and I'm going to do the work just in case we do lose. I'm not claiming we're going to lose, but if we do, nothing stops for me, because it's what we do. I know what the need is for the people, and if I don't, I listen, and then we go solve it. That's all it is. And so we just keep on going, and then when it's time to, possibly run again, or maybe another office is available that I want to seek, then we'll talk about it then.
All right, we're gonna switch it up a little bit right here. June 5th.
Yeah.
Festival for Youth. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, man. So how that came about was your brother. So Kevin, he kind of put out the call for action. Actually, it was a post where he was saying, I remember when, Big Jeff put on the Festival for Youth, right? And, I guess he was, I forget how it was worded, So I don't want to say it and it's, it's wrong. But what I did tell him was, hey, we Big Jeff right now. We got to put it on. We can't wait for anybody else to do it. And so he was like, you're right. And then, it was a dialogue on the thread. And then like 2 or 3 days later, he was like, yo, so what we going to do? Pretty much putting the call out. He wasn't targeting me, but he was putting a call out to the community. Hey, what are we going to do? It was like enough said. So what I told him, what I did was on the thread, I went under, I said, hey, everyone that is interested, send me your email address and we'll start a Zoom. I'll send out some dates for a Zoom. And so individuals that were interested, they did that, and that's what we did. In the meantime, what I ended up doing was I called the city and locked down a date in June. And I figured June for the first weekend in June would probably be a good time, because as you get into the summer months, and this is prior to knowing what COVID was going to do, the parks and stuff get booked up. So I wanted to, this is in December, so I wanted to go ahead and lock it, lock it in with no issue. So I called them and they said, oh yeah, nothing's happening. I said, can I go ahead and lock that date in? So what I wanted to do was have something in place for when we talked, say, look, this is the date. We're not spinning our wheels. No, this is what's going to happen. We're going to move forward. Excuse me. So, it was probably about 6 or 7 of us on a call. We reminisced first about the Seaford Festival of Youth, because this is nothing more than an ode to, our youth. This happened, I think, from 92 to 96, if I'm not mistaken. And it started off from an idea. Big Jeff really doesn't get the credit for it, because, the city ended up taking it over and, some other things transpired. But he is the spark. He's the foundation of the Seaford Festival of Youth. So as an ode to our childhood, what the day is going to consist of is from 9 to 5 on June 5th with a rain date of June 12th, that Saturday. 9 to 11, we will have a skills training / challenge for youth age 5 to 13, right? So it's just basic dribbling drills, shooting drills, passing drills, things of that nature. And then it will be coupled with like a substance abuse / gun prevention conversation. And that's due to us losing Jeff last year to gun violence, right? So we're going to have that happen from 9 to 11. From 12 to 5 is when the event really, really kicks off. And before the event, we plan to honor Big Jeff, with a plaque to thank him for all his years of service.
Absolutely.
He's done in the community and touched all of us. And from 12 to 5, we'll have a basketball tournament. 5-on-5 with the boys and 3-on-3 with the girls, and it's called the Jeff Johnson Basketball Classic. So once again, an ode to him, just to say thank you. I guess I need to go ahead and shout out some sponsors since they blessed us. But Dover Federal Credit Union is a sponsor. Buy-Right Auto Sales is a sponsor. Benson Concrete is a sponsor. Highmark. Highmark Delaware is a sponsor. Mount Air Farms is a sponsor. Team Life, and I hope I'm not missing anybody. If I am, please. Oh, Demco is a sponsor. Delaware Division of Social Services is a sponsor. So if I'm missing anybody, don't count it on my head. Trust me. You're definitely going to be highlighted at the event. But those individuals, those entities came on board. They saw the vision quickly, and it helped us offset the cost. And then also the community. How could I forget them? The community are sponsors because they're already talking about, donating food, water, or whatever it needs to be to make sure this event captivates and takes off properly, because people remember what it was. And if we do it right this year, it can become an annual thing. So we're really.
Do you need any more volunteers or any more donations or anything like that?
Yeah. We still right now. So we have a budget of $10,000 for the event. We're probably short about 2,000. And we still got till June, but we're trying to lock everything in by May 5th so we can start paying the vendors and everything that, we got to pay. So, if you would like to sponsor a team, if you want to just say, hey, I want to donate or whatever the case may be, get out with me or Kevin Bivens. You can reach me on my cell, 302-853-2841. Or on my email at jbenson84@hotmail.com, and we'll go from there. But we're really excited about this event. It's going to be a great day. All I hope is to pray for good weather, right? Because we can execute everything properly, and then if the weather ain't right, then that can jack us up. But I'm prayerful that God's going to bring us sunshine. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a great fellowship for the community and surrounding communities, not just Seaford. Trust me, it ain't gonna be no dumb stuff out there because law enforcement will be in effect. But you know, I mean, we're not even gonna talk about the negative. We're just gonna look at the positive. And the other thing is, we haven't been able to get together in a long time. Nobody, you know, we're probably not gonna have the Riverfest this year. AFRAM is already canceled. They said they're not doing AFRAM. So this will be an event for us. You know what I mean, that we can do. And once again, I would like to see it annualized for us to come together as a community and fellowship. And then if you want to be a vendor, also hit us up. If you sell things or if you're a nonprofit organization, just get up with me and we'll talk about, you know, those logistics. But we'll love to have you. We want you in the spot. It's going to be a great day. Everything's free. Food is free. You know what I mean? So, you know, we got people that's donating, like I said, donating their time to cook, but also to, you know, to disperse the food. So once again, man, I look forward to it. If you can make it, those that can make it, please show up. It's going to be a great time.
Great. Dom, you got any questions?
Yeah. I was going to ask somebody who wants to be more involved in the community, wants to get into that field, but doesn't know how to go about doing that. What advice would you have for them?
Number one, you don't need permission from nobody to do the right thing. Period. You don't need a politician. If you see a need in your community, I don't really know too many people who are going to say, stop doing that, right? Now, if it's messing with their money or, you know what I mean, it's changing the trajectory of different things, which still comes back to money, you may have pushback. But if you're trying to do something necessarily to better your community, you're not going to have an issue there. What I would say is for someone that's young or trying to aspire to do it, find someone that's in your community, like a Big Jeff that we had, that you see is doing different things, and ask them, can you tag along, right? So you can learn the ins and outs, the individuals that you need to talk to make those things seamless. Because you can, in your heart, try to do the right thing and be met with resistance, because I've had that happen. And it's only because I didn't go about certain things the right way, meaning knowing who the gatekeepers are, meaning talking directly with those city officials. How do I go about doing this? Making sure you have the right permits if you're going to do an event, if you need insurances, things of that nature. So the last thing you want to do is come in and it makes it seem like you're being arrogant, but your intent is not that, and they will shut you down, right? So there are some parameters, but if you have individuals that you know that's in your community that already do some great things, get with them and say, hey, can I tag along with you? Or I have an idea. Can you help me put it in place so we can, disperse it to the community? And once you do 1, 2, 3, they all become the same. You know what I mean? But this is the thing. There becomes a responsibility on your part. Once you put yourself out there, now you are known as that community leader. So that means calls are going to come your way. Emails are going to come your way. You have a responsibility to take those calls now. You know what I mean? There's going to be meetings that people are going to invite you to, and you're going to have to rearrange your schedule so you can be there. So, and this is the thing. If you don't do that, what end up happening is they'll stop inviting you. And then you won't be, in a sense, credible. You'll be, yeah, they do some things, but they're not reliable. You know what I mean? And so it goes back to, even with the event that we're doing on the 5th, the reason why I was able to secure those sponsors, because I've worked with all those sponsors in some form or fashion. In some form or fashion, I have some type of relationship with, minus probably Buy Right Auto Sales, but I'm still connected through some other individuals, right? And they've been paying attention with some of the stuff I've been doing in the community. So it was easy for them to stroke a check and say, oh, yeah, we support that. And then for me to say, yo, why don't you make sure you have a table there so you can, give out business cards and different things. You may be able to sell some cars while you're there. You get what I'm saying? So, so when you do those things, it makes, when you need to go after and get money, not for yourself, but when it's given back to the community, it makes it that much easier because you have a track record. I've been doing this for years, right? I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I've been doing this for years, and I've come out of my pocket a lot of times. Within the last year or two, this is probably the second or third event where I didn't have to pay anything because people have believed in what it is that I've done, where they sought me out and say, hey, Jeff, can you help us? You know what I mean? And then I actually have another event that I'm sponsoring for in May that I can't speak of yet, but it's going to be ill. You know what I mean? And it's nice for this area. So, they asked me not to say anything yet, so I won't, because I'm not the head person on it. But once again, they sought me out because they knew that I could get the job done and get what is needed to bring the people out. But it's going to be a wonderful event.
Let me ask you, so you talked about building the relationships with the sponsors and everything about that. If you're new in the game, you're young, like you're saying, like we're talking about, how do you go about building those relationships and even just getting those sponsors to even listen to you?
It goes like this. Hi, Dom. My name is Jeff. I've been seeing you've been doing the podcast, for a while. How can I help you improve or get the word out about your podcast? I've been doing that for years. For example, when I would go, so I'm about to give you some tricks, some things that I've been doing, right? So, with black tie events, I love them and I hate them. I love them because it's great networking, right? I hate them because they're probably $150 a plate and they give you this amount of food and you leave hungry, right? And so not only is it $150 for me, I got a date, which is my wife. So that's $300 that I could have bought groceries with that, I'm going to a networking event that's going to be beneficial, right? So, but this is the thing. I've never paid for any one of those events. Someone's always sponsored me because of the work that I've done. And it goes back to, how can I help you? I'm always offering. So if me and you met at say it was a black tie event, within 24 to 48 hours, what I'm going to do is I'll get your card and I'm going to ask you, what's the best way to contact you? If you got your email address on there and your cell phone, hey, can I call you on your email? Yeah, no problem. Can I call you on your cell phone? Yeah, no problem. Can I hit you directly to your email, meaning I didn't got to go through no buffer or your assistant? Yeah, you can email me directly. Cool. Within 24 to 48 hours, if that's a Saturday, I'll wait until about Monday at around 11, once they went through their emails, and I'll send them an email. Hey, man, it was great to meet you. Can we set up a time within the next week or two? What does Tuesday or Thursday look like for you morning or afternoon? I immediately go to that because what I want to do is tie them down so we can have a conversation, right? And the conversation is basically to find out more about who they are and how I can help them. I'm not asking for anything. How can I help you? Right? And so with that, once you develop that Rolodex over time, people start seeing that, hey, he's always, been a person that gives out resources. They ain't charge anything. When you need to tap that favorite bank, what you think they're going to do? Oh, no problem. No problem. And so sometimes, I'll strategically, if there is an event, it doesn't have to be black tie event. It could be a chamber event or whatever. And I need to get in front of somebody. I'll look at the guest list or I'll ask, hey, who's going to be there? Or if I'm looking for a specific person, will this particular person be there? And if they're going to be there, I make sure that I'm there because I need to get in front of them for ask, specifically not for myself, but it's almost 9 out of 10 times it's for benefiting the community, but they are my lead or my resource that I need to be able to benefit the community because they have whatever service or resources I need. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And so that's time consuming. That's taking years of honing those skills or whatever for me to get to the point where I put out an event like this and say, hey, I need a sponsor. Hey, no problem. You done made me X amount of dollars because of the resource you gave me, or we worked on some community events. I know where your heart is. Yeah, we can stroke a check for you. So that's how that works.
So the last question I have is, how would you said you don't want to come in being arrogant really finding the gatekeeper. How would one go about finding those gatekeepers? They want to do good in the community. They want to go out there and do what, like you said, just give back. But they want to make sure they go to the proper channels. How would somebody who doesn't have those connections and those resources find about who to go directly to, so that way they aren't stepping on toes and don't seem like they're coming out arrogant?
Yeah, that's going to take you to, once again, identify somebody's a community leader currently. If you don't know who that is, You're going to have to tap a few people to ask you, who do you know do these things or whatever. If I may, can I share a short story with you?
Yeah.
To show you something that I did wrong, right? And this happened in Bridgeville. So, Biv, you know this area. So you know where Tony's Pizza is, or where it used to be in that gas station?
Mm-hmm.
Behind there, what it still is an industrial building, about 5,000 square feet. I don't know if you may remember this or not. And me, Troy, and Lamar got the building. And the reason we got the building is because in the area in Bridgeville, Don, where are you from?
I'm from Wilmington.
You're from Wilmington. You don't know much about Sussex, probably.
A little bit. Not enough.
He don't know nothing.
Okay.
He don't know nothing.
I don't know nothing like y'all.
Okay. So in Bridgeville, this is at this time, it's still really at this time, but at this time, this is 2007. No, this is 2008/9. I know this because President Obama was running. So, he was gearing up to run. So this is about 2007 going into 2008. So we got this building, right? Bridgeville, they had no activity for the students, nothing, no Boys and Girls Club, no nothing. And Biv, if you remember, before they got their new library, they had this little teeny library that's next to this one church. I mean, it's small to be a library.
For a library, yeah, it's tiny.
And they said that the kids will be in there. They're not really being mischief, but you can't be loud in the library. Now, mind you, the library is already small, so it doesn't matter. Even if you're doing, you're whispering sort of loud, it's going to seem like it's amplified with multiple students. So we had identified that, right? Lamar at the time was working for the Georgetown Boys and Girls Club. I'm just getting home probably 2 years prior from the military, but, just getting my feet acclimated to trying to serve the community because I was serving on the Georgetown Boys and Girls Club board. So indirectly, me and Lamar, we're working together and, we're friends. And so we decided to go into business and, he had a store called The Hive that I was helping him out with. And so we had this building that he located. Talked to the landlord. Rent was, pretty manageable. And this is a building that's just a shell. It's nothing. It's a shell. And actually, I think it had one bathroom, right? And so in order for us to raise money, we would throw parties. Now, this is what I forgot to tell you was we were throwing parties prior. Right, just for for the kids, because we grew up in a time frame where there was 21 and under clubs, right? Excuse me. So after Friday night football, basketball game, we going to either the beach or we going to La Frontera or the warehouse. You know what I mean? So we wanted to, kind of pass that along to the youth, because it's safe. The parents knew it was safe or whatever. And we rocking with the DJs that rock with us as we grew up, right? Vibes Crew. So in the midst of that, right, we needed to raise money. We already been throwing parties. We find this building, 5,000 square feet. Perfect spot to have, a party. So this is what we did. Once we finally got everything cleared out, painted or whatever, we threw a party, right? So directly across the field was a city council member that lived there, right? So they're already pissed off because they're like, who are these people making all this noise? And it wasn't, the doors were shut, but when you hear bass, it's going to travel. And so we policed the building. Once again, it was about probably 19 and below, 20 and below. And, as people going to drink, they're going to do whatever the case may be, but it wasn't happening inside the building because we had off-duty police officers as our security, right? So that's not happening anyway. So we police the building. We find, some empty beer bottles, alcohol bottles, and we put it in a bucket outside. This is probably like 2:30 in the morning, right? We're coming back probably about 9 o'clock in the morning so we can clean up and reevaluate our night and see, how much money we raised and go get paint and different things. We get there, probably about 9:30, there's a note on the door to come see us at City Hall. You can't do it on Saturday because they're closed, so it had to be Monday. So the mayor at the time, his name is Joe Conaway. Remember that name, Joe Conaway. We go to see him. He dodges our calls. He dodges our visit. Right? He says this must be shut down immediately. We will not have any teens consuming any alcohol on that premises in our town, right? And rightfully so, because if that's what you see, I'm thinking, oh no, this can't be. And couple this, even if it was 21 and over, well, you ain't have no license to serve alcohol. You get what I mean? So you an error all the way around. You know what I mean? And so the crazy thing about this building, right? The building, how the lines, it could change now, but how the lines were drawn, the building actually sat in the county. And probably 1,000 feet is the city, is the town of Bridgeville. So he really didn't have any authority over us. We was in the county. And so, we haggled that, and we had a situation where we went back and forth. Ultimately, we ended up losing because what they hit us was like a $20,000 water impact fee.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So we ended up losing that building. Had I had the information that I had now, the first thing I would have did was to go see him and say, hey, Mr. Conaway or whoever, I didn't even know who he was at the time. We would like to be able to utilize this building as a community center for the youth here because we're hearing there's issues happening at the library. Chances are he would have said, let me see how we can help you get that renovated, etc. You know what I mean? We give him the whole business plan or whatever. Because this is the thing. When we went to see him on that Monday, and it wasn't just that Monday, it was multiple times, we already had our business plan so he could see. It was called the Hive Latchkey Program. You know what I mean? For kids that didn't have anywhere to go after school and then on the weekends. So, we had it laid out. He just wouldn't listen to us. Now, this is how God works, right? In the midst of it. I met Mr. Conaway probably 5 years later at a event, on Laurel, they had the 4th of July parade. Mm-hmm. And this was during an election year, and me and him was in the parade. And so I saw him, I'll go up to him, introduce myself. Hi, my name is Jeff Benson. And he said, your name sounds vaguely familiar. And I told him what happened. And I was like, man, you made it really hard. He said, yes, I made it very hard for you. So what ended up happening was he invited us to his house. We talked, laughed about it. He apologized. I apologized and told him, I realized that we made a mistake. I didn't know that's what we needed to do. Now, that was then. That was 2012. 2021. Tomorrow night, Joe Conaway, the chairman of Sussex County Economic Development Action Committee, is doing my last virtual meet and greet to talk about the economic development that's taking place in Sussex County and Seaford, Delaware, right? Now, this man is mad connected. Him and Joe Biden are almost best friends. You know what I mean? So he's held political office. You know what I mean? He's done it. Of course, obviously, he was the mayor, but on a state level or whatever. So he has mad influence. Now, he's using his influence to help get Jeff Benson elected when they were trying to shut Jeff Benson down in 2007 from being prosperous in the community. But that was because of my own ignorance, right? And so that's what I mean. We spent probably $15,000 of our own money that we lost that we couldn't recoup because we went in the wrong way. Mm-hmm. So that's a harsh reality and a harsh lesson behind not doing it the right way. And it wasn't because our heart and our intent wasn't the right way. It was because we just didn't do it and know who the gatekeepers was. So utilizing that story, always find out who the gatekeeper is, because it's going to save you time, money, heartache, and frustration. But we just didn't know. And so it did look like we were being arrogant. We're just coming into somebody's town, and all they know is a party's happening. We see alcohol, and we hear kids is involved. But on his end, the arrogant part on his end was he wouldn't hear us out. You get what I'm saying? And that's where the apologies on both sides came in.
Good. That's a good story. Listen. I ain't got nothing else. That's a good way to end. That's a good way to end. That's a final thought in and of itself.
Yeah.
I got one final question for you, Jeff.
Yep.
And it's just, how difficult is it running as a Democrat in Sussex County?
So here's the sweet part, right? I'm a registered Democrat. That's not a secret. The city council race or the municipal race is nonpartisan. So it's not an R or a D. It's just who's the best candidate, right? And so I don't have to run on a Democrat or a Republican agenda. And even being a Democrat, I wouldn't do that, right? I'm running on what my heart says, what the community says, what I feel, but more importantly, what the constituents are saying. Hey, this is what we need. I'm always in problem solving mode, period. When I hear what the issue is, if I have the resource, I'm going to give it. If I don't have the time to give, I'm going to go on my Rolodex and say, hey, Viv, I heard about you had this issue. I don't have time at this, to be at the meeting or whatever, but I already teed it up for you. Call this person. They probably can help you. You get what I'm saying? And so that's how I ran with this. You know what I mean? I like it that it's not an R&D. Up in Wilmington, you do have that. Like, Dom, I had some friends that ran, some lost, some won in this last election in November. Actually, it started in September and then ended in November for you guys. So for us, the great thing is, I'm running on my community background, everything that I've poured into the community. Now, to answer your question, as far as the R&D, if you're running for a state representative seat, a Senate seat, for Sussex County, for those particular seats, extremely difficult because Sussex County is red. So you only have one Democratic seat on the eastern Sussex side in Rehoboth, which is Speaker of the House, Pete Schwarzkopf. He's a retired state police officer. Very, very strong and influential. However, the silly part about this county being red, so it may be 52% Republican as far as a voter base, and maybe 48 or 49% Democrat. So it's neck and neck. It's just the Republicans come out to vote. When you look at the numbers, it's almost, once again, the Republicans have a little bit of an edge, just a little bit, but not to the point where when you look at the polls and you're like, God darn, he didn't even pitch him. it's 60-40 compared to, the outcome of the race are 70-30. And it's just because the Democrats didn't come out to vote, And we're a blue state. We're a blue state. Now, if you're in Newcastle, hey, you can do what you need to do. However, it's crowded with blue candidates. So you got a primary and do all those things to get through all that static and then come out victorious as the head person. And then to run against a Republican, chances are you're going to win. You just got to run against the primary, your other blue counterparts. But for the state, Senate, and representative, which is a district, and so our district where I live in is the 39th, and I think my Senate district is the 21st, right? That's all red. Now, if I was to run a statewide race, say insurance commissioner, well, I am from Sussex, right? Which is red, and then you get to Kent. Kent County is half and half red, half blue. Newcastle is king. Yeah, Newcastle is king because it's got more people. So, they're all blue for the most part up there. It's a good race for me. However, a lot of people don't know who Jeff Benson is in Newcastle County. So that means right now, which we have a strategy for that. Right now, once we win this office, to make sure people know who Jeff Benson is throughout the state of Delaware consistently. So when it comes time for that statewide race, for whatever that position may be, and I'm not saying I'm going into a statewide race, the next go round. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I look to be within this political game for a while. I'm going to continue to serve the city of Seaford as long as the city of Seaford will have me. And if an opportunity comes for me to be able to serve on a statewide race, I want to be prepared. I don't want it to be where Dom knows me because of doing his platform a couple times. But prior to that, he didn't know who I was. I wanted to be where, oh yeah, I know who he is. I've been following him because this is what I do, right? So I predict all the races throughout the state of Delaware, specifically the Wilmington City Council. I picked all but maybe 2 seats, right, from here, because I already know what they're doing. They ain't checking for me, but I am checking for them because eventually, maybe one day, we will be running against each other. You get what I'm saying? So, Hicktown and Seaford, Delaware, I'm already strategically mapping out who's the key players throughout the state of Delaware, right? Whereas I'm quiet, they don't know who I am, but I know exactly who they are. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So strategically, though, I got to get in front of people where they know my name, brand recognition, when it's time for us to pull that trigger, whenever that may be.
Got you, bro. You got anything else, Dom?
Nah, man.
No?
Nah.
All right. That was awesome.
I hope the interview was beneficial. I hope you didn't think I was just rambling. I hope you got something out of it, but how I can answer questions, even in a job interview, I had to tell the story. You know what I mean? Because it's a story behind it that gets me to answering your question.
Good, I love it. Listen, you just listen, good, just like me. My wife be like, "Get to it," but I'm like, "You listen, I gotta walk step by step. I gotta process. I got stories, and I'm a storyteller, so." Yeah. Bro, I'm the same way. So I love it. I hope the audience loved it. I hope they get something out of it. Like I said, my final thought came just based off of what you said, which is what we're going to tap right into. We're going to go right into our final thoughts. Where you said your gatekeepers, and knowing who your gatekeepers are, your heart can be pure for the things that you want to do. But if you're not going about it in the proper channels and the proper manners, then no matter how pure your heart is, you can get, like you said, you can have that headache, you can have that heartache, you can get shut down. So couple your pure intentions with also knowing who to go to. I mean, who's that mentor? Like in business, they always talk about having a mentor, even in ministry or whatever, having a mentor.
Yeah.
So whatever it is you should do, find a mentor who knows your heart. Who knows the plans, who's blaze that trail, and that way you can follow in those footsteps, and do the things that you want to do. That's my final thought. Find a mentor that to help you out.
Hey, I think that's a good word, man. Hopefully, I would say. Oh, am I in error?
No, you good.
What I wanted to say is, hopefully, to the audience, through this 50 plus minutes that we've been on, you can see the intent of my heart, the passion behind what I would love to do to serve our community, not just Seaford, Delaware, the state of Delaware, but specifically when it comes to this municipal election, Seaford's Delaware constituents. I'm all in. I'm sold out. You know what I mean? I'm sold out. My work ethic shows that I'm sold out. My past work dealings and community efforts show that I'm sold out. I got 2 events that's on the books, and I'm not elected. It has nothing to do with the election, to show you that I'm committed to this community that's going to benefit the community. It has nothing to do with me, but we're giving flowers to other individuals and then bringing the community together as a whole. That's what I'm about. You know what I mean? But I definitely will fight for you and with you through the end. You know what I mean? So if you could, please do me this favor. I hate to ask for different things, but I am asking this favor for you to vote for me on April 17th. The election, the polls open at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning at Seaford City Hall, and they close at 3 p.m. You have to be in line by 3 p.m. And if not, you know what I mean, we're going to miss out on that potential vote. We need every single vote from you guys. And so thank you so much for you guys having me. I'm excited about Saturday. Tomorrow, if I can put one more plug in, we have our last virtual meet and greet with Mr. Joe Conaway. It's still on the economic development, what's going on in the state of Delaware, what's going on in Sussex County, and then more specifically Seaford, Delaware. You don't want to miss it. This guy is remarkable. He's a wealth of knowledge. He knows the ins and outs of everything. Trust me. And he's going to be able to lay it down and let us know what's going on. If you're available, you can go to you can find the information on our Facebook or Instagram page. It's at Councilman Benson Jr. or Jeffrey T. Benson Jr. You can pull that up. You can pull it up there. Or you can go to our website, which is jeffreybensonjr.com/events. If you register, we will then send you a link to your email where you can get the Zoom link and hop on. So we would love to have you.
Absolutely, man. Get out and vote on Saturday. If you live in Seaford, get out and vote. You have a candidate from the community, raised in the community, went through the school district, and is still here, ready to do the work, and is already doing the work for you. So get out and vote for him. Jeff Benson, thank you again, brother, for giving us your time in the middle of running for office. So I know you're a busy man on top of being a father, a husband, and wearing all these other hats. So I know you took out some time to be with us, bro. I appreciate it, man. You know it's nothing but love from over here.
Absolutely.
So, man, just go ahead, keep doing your thing, and we got your back.
We appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
I got one more final thought. Well, two final thoughts. I posted the thing, vote Jeff this Saturday. Just go get out there and vote, man. He got a big heart. He's trying to do things for his city. And speaking of that, I want to say this. My one final thought is, don't just speak about it, be about it. And what I mean by that is that don't speak about what you want to do. Don't speak about, on the things that you want to see change. Get out and be about it. Figure out what you can do in your community and change the things in your community, and get out there and be about it. He saw things that he didn't like, that he wanted to change, and he was about it. He went about it. So
thank you.
Yep, that's my final thought. Yes, sir. Hey, listen. Make sure again y'all subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you like the show, go to like our Facebook page. Our link tree is in our Facebook page as well. But until next time, y'all, I'ma holla at y'all. Speak on it.
Peace.